Peter's worst heartbreak just leaked from CinemaCon. MJ has a new boyfriend. And Peter has to watch it all happen. Tom Holland said Brand New Day would be his most emotional Spider-Man movie. But this one scene is so devastating, it left the entire CinemaCon room silent. CinemaCon 2026 in Las Vegas. Theater owners packed the hall for Sony's presentation. Tom Holland appeared via hologram and delivered a serious warning. This will be the most emotional Spider-Man movie we have ever made, and in some ways, the most grown up. Then the exclusive footage started playing. 5 years after No Way Home. The world has completely forgotten Peter Parker. He's alone, broke, and still swinging through the city every night with no one who knows his real name. Peter spots his old best friend Ned Leeds. The loneliness becomes too much. He follows Ned to a housewarming party for MJ. Peter tries to blend in. He brings flowers as a gift. When someone asks his name, he quietly says, Maynard, a small, heartbreaking tribute to Aunt May. MJ walks in looking happier and more confident than ever. She tells the group she turned down a big job because she feels like she's waiting for something great. Peter stands there, his heart already shattering. Then comes Peter's worst heartbreak. MJ's new boyfriend walks in. He smiles confidently and says, well, the wait is over. He pulls Zendaya's MJ close, looks at her lovingly and says, just like you, that's my girl. Then he kisses her right there in the kitchen. Peter watches the entire thing from the doorway. The camera holds on his face for what feels like an eternity. You see pure devastation, shock, sadness, disbelief, and deep heartbreak in Tom Holland's eyes. No mask, no jokes, just raw pain. This is Peter's worst heartbreak. He sacrificed everything in No Way Home to save the people he loves. Now he has to watch MJ happy with someone else, while she has zero memory of him. The entire CinemaCon room went silent. No one was ready for how heavy this moment felt. Tom Holland's performance here is already being called one of his strongest ever. Zendaya's MJ is warm, radiant, and full of life, making the emotional distance between them feel crushing. Peter doesn't make a scene. He quietly leaves the party and swings away into the night. Even through the pain, you can see that unbreakable Spider-Man determination. But this time, he's carrying an unimaginable weight. This Brand New Day footage confirms the movie is taking a much more mature, grounded, and emotional direction. Director Destin Daniel Cretton is exploring real human loneliness while new threats like Scorpion and Tombstone rise. Once descriptions of this scene leaked, the internet exploded. Fans are calling it one of the most painful moments in the MCU so far. Peter's worst heartbreak just leaked from CinemaCon, and Brand New Day is already proving it will be unlike any Spider-Man movie before. July 31, 2026 is going to hit different. Drop a spider in the comments if this leaked footage broke your heart. And tell me, do you think Peter and MJ will find their way back together? Or is this the start of Peter's loneliest and most powerful chapter? Because even when the world forgets Peter Parker, Tom Holland and Zendaya are still stealing every single scene. Peter Parker survived Thanos, survived the multiverse collapsing, survived losing Aunt May. But nothing could have prepared him for seeing MJ with someone else. And according to the latest Spider-Man, Brand New Day leaks coming out after CinemaCon, that exact moment may become the most heartbreaking scene Tom Holland's Spider-Man has ever faced. Because this time, Peter isn't fighting villains. He's fighting the consequences of being forgotten. Ever since the ending of Spider-Man, No Way Home, fans have been obsessed with one question: what happens when Peter finally sees MJ again? Would she remember him? Would destiny somehow bring them back together? Or would Doctor Strange's spell permanently erase the greatest relationship in Tom Holland's Spider-Man trilogy? Now, if these leaks are accurate, Marvel may have answered that question in the cruelest way possible. MJ has reportedly moved on. And Peter has to watch it happen. According to insiders discussing footage and story details connected to Brand New Day, Peter eventually reconnects with MJ during the film after months, possibly even years, of isolation. But the emotional reunion fans expected apparently takes a devastating turn when Peter realizes MJ has built an entirely new life without him. A healthy life. A peaceful life. One that no longer includes Peter Parker. And then comes the real gut punch. She's reportedly dating someone new. Not a villain. Not a random joke character. An actual emotionally stable, normal guy who represents everything Peter believes he can never give her. Safety. Consistency. A future untouched by chaos and death. That detail alone completely changes the emotional direction of Brand New Day. Because Peter can't even be angry. Think about it. MJ didn't betray him. She didn't leave him. She didn't stop loving him voluntarily. From her perspective, Peter Parker barely exists. The memories are gone. The relationship is gone. The love story that meant everything to Peter has been erased from her mind like it never happened. But for Peter, every memory is still alive. Every laugh. Every rooftop conversation. Every awkward moment at school. Every, "I love you." He remembers all of it while standing there watching MJ smile at another person the same way she used to smile at him. That's not jealousy. That's grief. And insiders claim Tom Holland's performance in these scenes is what reportedly left CinemaCon audiences emotionally stunned. Not because Peter breaks down dramatically, but because he doesn't. Apparently, he tries to hide the pain. He forces small smiles. He acts supportive. He convinces himself this is what he wanted for her all along. A normal life. The exact thing he sacrificed himself to protect. That's what makes this storyline so brutal. Peter technically succeeded. The spell worked. MJ is alive, safe, happy, and moving forward. But now Peter has to live with the emotional cost of his own sacrifice. He saved her by removing himself from her life, only to realize he may never emotionally recover from it. And if the leaks are true, Marvel leans heavily into that emotional conflict throughout the movie. Reports suggest Peter becomes deeply conflicted about whether he should even try to reconnect with MJ romantically. Because once he sees her happy with someone else, he starts questioning whether bringing her back into his dangerous world would be selfish. If she remembers him again, she remembers the pain too. The loss, the danger, the trauma, everything. So now Peter faces an impossible choice. Fight for the girl he still loves, or let her stay happy without him. And honestly, that might be the most mature Spider-Man conflict we've ever seen on screen. No multiverse portals. No alien invasions. Just heartbreak. There's also speculation that MJ's new relationship isn't portrayed as toxic or manipulative. In fact, early rumors suggest Marvel intentionally made the new boyfriend likable. Which somehow makes the situation even worse. If the guy were terrible, audiences would naturally root for Peter to win MJ back immediately. But if he's genuinely good to her, suddenly Peter becomes the outsider intruding on a life that already healed without him. That creates emotional tension unlike anything Spider-Man has dealt with before. Because Peter's greatest enemy in this movie may not be a supervillain. It may be timing. And the saddest part, there are hints that MJ still feels emotionally connected to Peter in ways she can't explain. Insiders claim certain scenes reportedly show her acting strangely around him, lingering eye contact, unexplained familiarity, emotional reactions that don't fully make sense. It's as if part of her heart remembers something the spell erased from her mind. But memories aren't enough to rebuild a relationship overnight, especially when another person is already standing in that space. That's why fans are already terrified about where this story could end. Some believe Marvel is building toward MJ slowly remembering Peter again over the course of the movie. Others think the film may end with Peter choosing not to restore those memories at all because he realizes she finally has peace. And if Marvel actually goes that route, Brand New Day could become the saddest Spider-Man ending ever made. Because Peter's pain has always come from sacrifice. Spider-Man never gets to keep the people he loves without consequences. Tobey Maguire's Peter lost Mary Jane repeatedly because of his responsibilities. Andrew Garfield's Peter lost Gwen Stacy forever. And Tom Holland's version may now face something arguably even more painful, watching the love of his life move on while he's forced to pretend he's okay with it. There's also a deeper psychological layer to all this that fans are starting to notice. Peter's identity has completely collapsed after No Way Home. He's no longer the kid mentored by Tony Stark. He's no longer an Avenger surrounded by allies. He's alone in a tiny apartment sewing his own suit, listening to police scanners, and surviving day by day like the classic comic version of Spider-Man. MJ represented the last emotional connection to his old life. So seeing her with someone else doesn't just break his heart romantically. It confirms that the old Peter Parker is truly gone. That may ultimately be what Brand New Day is really about, not Peter getting his life back, but learning how to live after losing it completely. And honestly, that grounded emotional direction could be exactly what the MCU needs right now. After years of universe-ending spectacle, Marvel appears to be telling a smaller, more personal story centered on loneliness, memory, sacrifice, and emotional survival. A story where the biggest battle isn't saving the world, but accepting that sometimes the people you love can heal without you. Which brings us back to the moment everyone keeps talking about. Peter seeing MJ with another guy. Not screaming, not fighting, not interrupting, just standing there quietly realizing the hardest part of saving someone might be watching them become happy without you.